Endorsements for Ted Cruz are starting to roll in. This week, one Senate colleague who's not a fan of Trump delivered a passionate argument for why Cruz should be the Republican nominee.
Obviously, Kasich is so far behind that it's impossible really for him to get the numbers. So by process of elimination, that gets you to Ted Cruz.
So you want Ted Cruz to get the Republican nomination?
Well, at this point, there's no choice.
It's 100% behind him. Cruz also has the backing of Lindsey Graham, who told CBS this morning if he can support Cruz, quote, anybody can do it. Graham listed Cruz's qualities.
He is a real Republican from the more ideological spectrum than I am, but he would not destroy our party.
Yes, vote Cruz. At least he will not destroy our party. That's it. Look, Tucker, of course, they've come kicking and screaming, but they've got to endorse, right?
Trump will destroy Lindsey Graham's party. That's probably the best thing you could say about him, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I mean, they recognize the threat, and that's why they're against it. But what I'm so struck by is the fact that they've defined support for Trump as a moral crime. It's not simply, we disagree, but basically you're on the side of fascism. You're out to destroy our party, destroy America. There's no room for honest disagreement in the eyes of some of the more radical anti-Trump people, and it makes like normal adult conversation impossible. And they wind up doing things they would never do, like supporting Ted Cruz. It's weird.
But I guess they have to support Cruz, Gavin, because if they don't, then who's left but Hillary, right?
I agree with them.
What?
And I think that we have to support Cruz if Trump isn't making it. But I'm still on the Trump train. But I'm happy to jump over to Cruz. It's like Bailey and Lonnie Anderson. I'll take them both.
But here's the thing. They don't like him. They're hoping for...
It's not about like, and that's what those guys were just saying. They were saying, I know that politics has become fashion and it's who's cool and who would you want to have a beer with. But take Cruz. You're going to like it.
Take your medicine?
Take your medicine, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, Louis J. Gomez?
Yeah, there's a bunch wrong with that. There's a bunch wrong with both of them. It reminds me of Batman versus Superman. You know what I'm saying? Trump is Batman. He's rich. He's got dead parents. Cruz is like Superman. He looks like an alien. He's super weird. The truth is,
they both keep us safe. They both protect us.
No, there's no winning watching this race in general. I'm just waiting for Justice League to come out, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's good.
Okay, we'll have Aquaman running the country. So leave it up to you.
Well, isn't Paul Ryan Aquaman?
Oh, I don't know. I'm too busy thinking about how Kasich is Pippi Longstocking. He's coming into your world.
That is so perfect.
Yeah, right? Freckle face and joyous.
He is there. We didn't mention him at all. I mean,
yeah.
He's the other guy still in the race.
I think we're seeing, there's not very many options, and my advice to people who are doing these endorsements is what I tell my girlfriends. You don't need a man. It's okay to be alone. You don't have to just, settle for one of them who are there. Graham was essentially saying, this is all we got, so I guess I'm going to have to go with Cruz. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Just be alone.
Wrong. You don't
be alone.
Don't define yourself with an ass.
Don't let your ovaries dry up, America. Don't become a spinster. You need a man.
Okay, wait a minute. Now let's look at the people who've endorsed Trump. They're not doing him any favors either. On Thursday, Ben Carson revealed in a radio interview that Trump has been approached by family members and others about his freewheeling use of Twitter.
He knows that it's a problem. Yeah. So, the first part of solving the problem is recognizing that it exists.
In another interview, Carson defended Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski, who was charged with battery for allegedly grabbing a female reporter. Carson said he doesn't see any reason to demonize Lewandowski.
Well, look, he's been charged with misdemeanor assault in Florida. A lot of people think that is a reason.
Well, a lot of people have been charged with various things. That doesn't necessarily mean that we need to demonize them. You've probably been charged with something too. You maybe with a misdemeanor or something. Doesn't mean that you're an evil, horrible person. And this is part of the problem that we.
The look on that female reporter's face was like, what haven't you told me? Who am I sitting next to?
Joanne, why did they look at each other like that?
Because they know something we don't.
Yeah, I know. There's something there.
Oh, that was great TV. That Carson needs to keep doing these shows every time. It's amazing.
Well, also, he went after his mom with a hatchet.
Yeah.
And tried to stab his friend in the gut with a knife. Misdemeanor assault is
his mom, who was a And his friend who was a jerk.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't deserved. I'm just saying Carson never breaks character because it's not actually a character. It's totally real. There's something awesomely authentic about it. And if Trump can't deal with that, then he's a lesser man. I think.
Yeah. Look. The thing is, Carson is real. He comes from a rough neighborhood. You probably did too, Louis Jacobs.
That is very racist, Tom.
That is unbelievable.
I grew up in the suburbs of New York. I was raised by Irish Italians.
Really?
Yeah.
But so you still gotten, I'm sure.
Look, I've chased some people around with knives before, but I was never charged. So.
So you never even been charged with a misdemeanor?
Well, I've been charged with plenty of misdemeanors, but just not for chasing somebody with a knife.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's what Carson was getting at. That you don't. He was.
I was guilty every time, Tom.
You were, but he was saying innocent until proven guilty, and the hosts were acting like he was a crazy person.
I agree with that. I think that in this country, especially if you're a man and somebody accuses you of something, then you're immediately guilty in the public's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that true? But isn't that is that fair, Gavin?
Yes, that's totally fair. I just learned this year that with domestic abuse charges, the woman doesn't even have to charge you. A neighbor can do it, and then if the woman goes, no, stop, we were having sex, it's okay, that charge is still going like an Indiana Jones boulder. And I just learned it. Did you know that?
How do you know so much about domestic abuse charges?
It happens all around me.
It does?
Yes.
You live in a rough part of Brooklyn, don't you?
My boss is going through some hairy times right now, as Louis can contest.
Yes, I can.
Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys is going through it right now. And then, of course, there's Corey and the,
And also, it's whoever calls the cops first. So always, I just start off a relationship by calling the cops and reporting domestic abuse, just in case.
Instead of Trump or Cruz, should there be a clean slate? Writing at the Federalist, Michael Graham endorses the idea of the GOP convention picking a nominee who was not a 2016 candidate, assuming Trump ends up with around 1,100 delegates. Graham says compared to a GOP nominee, Donald Trump, everything sounds good. And he asks, if polls show Trump losing head-to-head against Hillary in every state except Idaho and Mississippi, is dumping Trump really the crazy idea? But not so fast, says Hot Air's Jazz Shaw, who calls the clean slate plan a Wile E. Coyote scheme. Shaw says choosing a nominee who didn't run would be a slap in the face to the armies of people who have voted in the primaries, and that it means telling tens of millions of Republican voters that they wasted their time. I guess, Tucker, they're both right to some extent. They can ignore the voters, but should they?
Well, that's right. Just because it's allowed doesn't mean it's wise. I mean, they're also misunderstanding of the point of the Republican primaries. The point of the Republican primaries is not to choose the most viable candidate. It's to choose the candidate that actual Republicans want and voted for. It is a democratic process. Now, the party can subvert that, but at what cost? How reckless is that? I mean, the people are mad because they think it's an oligarchy posing as a democracy.
Yeah.
If they did this, they would ratify that. They'd prove it.
But wait a minute. The whole idea of political parties, is that really true? Now, what you just said, it makes sense, okay, and it touches my heart. But the purpose of a political...
Yes, it is. Look, these primaries are paid for not by the parties, but by taxpayers. I mean, let's be totally real. They're acting as if 9 donors get to make all the decisions, but it's not exactly true, actually. This is a federally overseen process. So you can't just say, I don't know, these 3 donors want this guy, we're putting him in there. I don't know. How about this? Try it and see what happens. Not a good idea at all. Dumber than anything Trump has ever said.
Well, Gavin, what do you think? Obviously, they're going to be able to do whatever they want. We know that.
Yeah.
But what do you think the voters are going to do, and what should they do?
I think the GOP are WIMPs, and they remind me of these dummies who are always on their phone checking their stocks and going, oh, no, it's down today. I better sell it. That's not how the stock market works, you wuss. You only look at your stocks every 5 years at the very most. But these people are going, oh, no, we're having a bad week. Let's demolish the whole entire thing. Stay the course, and when it comes time, get off the couch and vote for either Trump or Cruz.
There it is. Okay.
I like your investment strategy.
I just put it right in the shredder.
Yeah, you're not supposed. Yeah, I mean, isn't that the idea?
You look more than once
Long
every
term?
5 years.
I don't have any investments.
I'll go 8 years.
I got 4 kids. Come on.
Oh, Louis, what? What's the deal? What are they? Give me an answer. What are they doing?
The whole thing is so confusing. Here, I thought the Electoral College was confusing enough. Now, Our votes don't count. The delegate votes don't count. I have no idea. It's like a Russian egg doll. They just keep on pulling him out, and it's like I have no idea what's happening. I got a headache just reading about this stuff. The whole thing is so.
We
my
made
nose
you
started
read.
bleeding. It was awful. Please never make me read again.
I know, but no one cared until Trump. And now, all of a sudden, people are going, so what's this process again? What the hell is a super delegate?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, America cares because it's exciting again.
But isn't that the thing? I mean, you can do anything you want. The parties can do what they want, and then someone Trump can run third party. Don't complain.
But that's the thing. I think a lot of establishment people are concerned about the health of the party. But what you're going to see is voters are going to leave your party because they don't like your House rules.
Yeah.
And they're going to go to Trump's loft department, okay, which will be like his independent run, and then your party is screwed because you have no one showing up.
Yeah, but I think we are long past the time when we should have more than two parties, Tucker. Why not?
I mean,
Five.
there are
Let's
a
have
lot
five.
of look. Your politics gets more radical the more parties you have. The more you narrow cast to special interests, the more extreme. I mean, look at a parliamentary system in any country; it's much less moderate, much crazier, much more volatile than the one we have. But I think the point is not to help the parties, to help the country. You want a stable country with boring politics, and thanks to a lot of factors, including the selfishness of entrenched interest in Washington, you're about to get really radical, unpredictable, volatile politics, and that's just not at all good for the country. Period.
Radical and unpredictable, or like Kasich says, fun. It's going to be fun.
We don't need more than two parties because there's only two types of people in America. There's people who want to leave, who want to annoy other people, and there's people who just want to be left the alone.
Nicely put.
I wonder which one I am. I think I must be the latter.